So here's an inking demo. So when you're drawing a line for inking, it's actually a really good idea to get the lines very clear. You want to know, where does this line go? Where does it begin? Where does it end? So the tighter your pencil drawing is, the easier your inking job will be. So usually before I go ink, I'll just like go over it almost as if I'm inking to try to get it like really precise. And this is just a random sketch of a random character in a kind of random pose. Okay, so I have 3 pens here I'm going to be using. So I'm going to start with the smallest one. Usually you want to, there's kind of 2 ways to think about where the lights fall. Either you, how to do the inking. Either you think like there's light, it's lighter on one side, so you have thinner lines and then darker lines on the side where it's like the light's coming from here. So here's the lights hitting and then there's the shadow. Or you can think like this is in front of this. So the one in front is darker and heavier and the one in back is lighter and thinner. So we're going to start with external lines. I'm going to try to do some combination of these. So these are like outer lines, and so we want them to be very visible, thick, dark. These are inner lines, are generally going to go any thinner. I think I'm going to do everything with like the same thickness and then go over my lines. So I would normally draw a lot slower than this. So I'd be like, okay, this line comes from here to there. This line goes from here to here. Pick it up. This line goes from here to there. This line from here to here. Try to draw in one stroke cleanly. Think about the beginning and ending of your line. And pick up the pencil. This line goes from here to here, and then I have it in front, and then this is in back. This is in front of the arm. The arm is in front of the hand. And if I was using like microns, I would very frequently use a heavier line in front. Oh, yeah, and then a lighter line in back. So here I'm doing everything the same. So I'm doing this faster, but you really should slow down and think, where's the beginning and where's the ending of this line? This line goes from here to here. And in general, you don't want to do what I just did there and make a lot of bumps. Make it from here to here. You generally want to use straight lines, C curves, and S curves. If you're making a line more complicated than that, you might be doing it wrong. So here we have maybe an S curve. See, it's very shallow, but it's kind of like that. Here we have a straight line, C curve, straight line going into C curve. Actually this is an S curve because it goes C curve. Generally there's also a concept of straights versus curves. So if I have a C curve on one side, I put a straight on the other so it's more dynamic. If you have 2 C curves on either side, it starts to look like boring. I was going to use an example and I couldn't think of one. So you generally want to, so here's a C curve, so make this line straight. This is a C curve, so, okay, it's a little bit different if you offset it like this. That creates like a nice flow. So here we have a C curve going from thick to thin, and then I'm going to do it like, it's almost like an S curve, and then so you have an S curve opposite a C curve. So that creates an interesting shape, see? And then straight. I'm going to put a knee in there. And then I want like folds, zigzag. Okay. C. And then same C. Here's a circle. C, circle. C, circle, kind of C. So then those are these 3 kinds of lines. So now I'm going to use this to show, okay, this hand, let's see, this sleeve is in front of this hand, so this gets to be darker. There's a shadow here where the hand meets the sleeve here. When you have like something inside of something else, so here you have a sleeve with a hand inside of it, I like to draw like a kind of a triangle in that intersection, and it creates interest. And you can also make the darker here, kind of like the shadow created by the sleeve. So this is away from our light. It's also in front. The light is kind of come from this direction. So this is opposite. It's also, this arm is in front of this sleeve, and this arm is in front of this, like the back of his shirt. And then the shirt is in front of the pants. So you make this darker here. The knee is in front of the rest of the leg. So you make it darker here. These pants are in front of, I'm creating a little, they're in front of the shoe, so I'm creating a triangle. There should be something here too. I can create those triangles to create like a shadow. You can extend certain places down to create more of a shadow. Like, okay, this is like a nice space for the shadow. The hair, each clump of hair is going to create a little shadow. And as you can see, it's possible to overdo it. So it's generally good to start light and then go darker later. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna make it so these are away from the light. This is in front. And you can also go thick to, and then just let that fade to thin, because this is kind of forward and that's kind of back. This is in front of the arm. The arm is in front of the hand. I feel like I should put a corner here. And you can shade in the eyes if you're not going to color them. I forgot eyebrows. Okay, now for the Sharpie. I'm hesitant about this. This you might use for fills, so like if you had black hair with highlights or something. But another thing you can do, I usually do this with a brush pen, is if I wanted to make this like a coloring page, you can go around the external boundary as if it was almost like a cutout and create this border. Yeah, I'm wondering if this is maybe a little too thick. Be aware of the positive, you're kind of creating negative space. Be aware of the positive space that it's creating. So this would be too thick to do like on one side. Since I'm doing this, I'm going to have to do it around the whole thing. Generally, I would use this if there was like a background. This separates the figure from the background very clearly, and it makes it a lot easier if you're doing a coloring page to tell what's in front and what's in back. I can show some example of this a little bit. You really should be doing the same thing of thinking about CNS curves, but you see how that's very clearly pops forward. So if I want to have like, maybe he has a little house in the background. So now if I draw that house, it's very clear that like, that's a separate object than him. Even though it's got hierarchy also, like this is in front and that's in back. This is in front. And then smaller details like, here's a window. So these are going to be thinner lines. Here's a door. And see the door, even though it kind of overlaps him, you can clearly see what's in front and what's in back. What's the most important figure in this picture? Here's a tree. And then it's generally a good idea to have a border around your pictures. I learned this in the Smart School class I took, because that defines the composition. And then like if you were to put this somewhere else, you would know where the edge is. And you can use a ruler for this if you want to make it more clear. But sometimes I like to have the natural, imperfections that come from this. So you see that's kind of, it almost makes you, besides the craziness, like I don't want to color this, it looks fun.